If you were here for my first review of the Pinter around this time last year, you'll know how much I loved it. V2 has landed. And no messing here, I have had a quick week away with my lovely wife, came home and it was here ready for me to play with, and I didn't want to wait the best part of 2 weeks to get something up and to show you how I feel about this brand new iteration of the Pinter. So what I've done is I've quickly filmed an unboxing and getting a brew on. A couple of things to point out. Firstly, there's a couple of points with regards to the courier. This was done by DPD Local. I would stress that this was left here. I wasn't damaged while it was here, purely because I can see on the CCTV where it was dropped around the back. It wasn't dropped, but the bottom of the box, the guy had it in two parts. He placed down the actual bottom of the box and then placed the box on top. Looking in the box, it had clearly been opened. There were parts that were taped back. It's a real frustration with this, and I know that couriers get a bad rep. However, I have worked for DPD in the past for 18 months, 2 years. I worked for Amazon, all while I was my wife and I were getting our production company up and running. So I know the stresses that are involved being a courier. I also know the way in which certain couriers treat parcels, and I hate it because I've seen so many things being thrown around with absolutely no thought for what's in there and the work people have done to earn the money to pay for the things. So while, spoiler alert, nothing was damaged in this, and from what I can see, everything works perfectly. Kudos to Pinter for just how well packaged they've made this. But just, I don't know what I want to say, because Pinter's packaging has clearly worked well in this regard, but I don't know how much more it would have been able to take. Rest assured, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. And as you can see, I'm unboxing, and it wasn't quite the unboxing experience that I wanted or that I had from the V1, but it's absolutely fine. But yeah, have a look at how I've got on with V2 so far. Now that I can automatically see the improvements, and I haven't even been into this yet. There does seem to be quite a bit of tape on here. I think DPD possibly had a right good go of it. However, it will be a real test of Pinter's packaging. So let's have a look. Not exactly the experience you want, but that's not Pinter, that's DPD for your couriers. Ah, how nice is that? Oh, I love that. Thanks guys, thanks Pinter. Okay, let's speed through this. I can't tell you how better this feels. Obviously this would be a much better experience if I wasn't trying to film it from two angles, you know what I'm saying? Okay, oh, Pinter packs, what have we got? Space Hopper, love Space Hopper. And we got Dark Matter, love Dark Matter. And we have Lockwood Pilsner, loving it. Okay, some fresh notes there. Hello. 2 glasses as well. Lovely, very nice. Thank you very much. That is everything that's in the box. Cool, right, let's tidy this up. Okay, first and foremost, this really has taken a battering. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's survived quite well. There's no lasting marks from what I can see. The dock, that feels brilliant. I mean, everything feels brilliant. What I don't want to be doing is I don't want to be bashing the V1 with any of the V2 videos, purely because we wouldn't be with the version 2 if it weren't for the V1, and the V1 still for me, just game changer. This looks like it's really stepped up. Okay, I've got some videos that have been sent as well to talk me through the brewing. I can't share them at the moment, so I can't really screen record. What I do know and what I can say is that they've asked us to brew with the carbonation dial set at 2, even though this may differ from what it says on the fresh press bottle. What I also know is that we only have here original brews, original fresh presses from the V1. Let me just check if they've added anything else. And we have the yeast. So there are no presses that I've got here that include any of the fresh hopping, which is the secondary stage, what I understand from the launch, where you place into the back here some fresh hops. For those who do know the V1, as you can see, the V2 has changed somewhat. As you can see, if I just move this back a little bit, we now have a carbonation setting 1 through to 6, where it used to be carbonated, non-carbonated or off. And here we have that for putting in the fresh brews, the fresh hops to fresh hop, dry hop. I'm still getting there. Anyway, that comes off a lot easier. Now this we will see, because this is supposed to be shorter, like much shorter, or at least considerably shorter to be able to get into your fridge. Now this didn't used to be able to fit under my tap. Let's see if that's changed. Oh, no. So we still need to fill it up with a jug. But that's fine, that's absolutely fine, he says. Just need a taller tap, don't I? I really do. Okay, so in there is the hot water and the purifier. Hot water up to the fill line inside. Much easier than just a small line or the red circle with the V1. Okay, that feels like it goes on much nicer. Yeah, okay. The actual cap that screws back on is a much nicer feel too. So now, I mean, I've done this many times in the V1. Obviously, this is the first time with the V2, so I'm a little bit, I would personally think, cap on and Pinter shake, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so that's what that's for. Okay, so here, we have a little rubber thing. As you can see here, we have a little rubber thing, and what this does is it's going to hold, I'd want that to hold that back, but it doesn't seem to be doing so, which is DPD, you will be the death of me. Let's push that down and lock that. Okay, that really feels locked in place now. Okay, again, you probably won't have this problem because, well, you might, but you know, if you do, just know that you've got to, if you look on the side here, this here, obviously we're inverted, but that's fully unlocked. As you can see, this is coming now because it's already got some pressure in there. So if you push it all the way back and you're feeding these to go all the way down to the bottom here, that makes sense? I think it does. Anyway, so this little rubber thing goes over there to prepare, I'm assuming, for the Pinter shake. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, it's time, boys and girls. Let's get everything out of the way. The Pinter shake with the V2. Okay, so handle there. That handle is so robust. Okay, that's not good. It's not good at all. Okay, maybe that was just some excess. I think it was. Okay, so I did have a little bit of drippage there, but I think that was actually from the excess that had built up inside the tap, because the tap here now, rather than just a hole at the front, the tap runs all the way down towards the back and is coiled like tubing, which helps not only you get the brewed beer from the back and pulls it through, what it also helps to do is calms it down by the time it gets to you. You know what I mean? So there's not as much build up. I understand that's kind of in the whole process anyway. So now we're on to placing the dock on top. And what it says here is that you align right on top. You go slightly to the right. Ah yeah, felt that then. And then press down and then rotate it back. That in itself feels so much, I don't know, it just feels more purposeful, more, that's not even the right word. It just feels much more engineered. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, let's invert. And that now is adding the purifier to the actual dock as well to give you all that cleaning in both the Pinter itself and the dock. While we're here, just let's have a little look at that. I mean, just, oh, it's just lovely, isn't it? Lovely, that's etched. It's etched right on there, Pinter. Can you see that? Because of the, yeah, there you go. Pinter there, hopper there. Oh, it's lovely. It just feels just so much more engineered. Like they've learnt everything from V1 and just applied it all to V2. I love it already. Okay, so at this point we need to undock and place in the sink, or place in the sink and then undock. So at this point we undock by rotating that way and lifting. That's a much easier undocking experience. Place that to the side there. Pour out. So we now set the carbonation to off, all the way from 5 to off. There's a little bit of a hiss there, and we remove the rubber band here. Not the most elegant solution, but you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And we slide on the tap. And we pull up to unlock, and then forward at 90 degrees to allow that to run out for 5 seconds. Then we take the tap back up and push it back down to lock. Slide out the tap, turn the carbonation setting back to 5, and then we unscrew the main cap and pour out the remainder of the purifier. Okay, I get that. We're pretty much the same as the V1. Just there's a couple of little back and forths between setting 5 and setting off for the carbonation, and that's obviously to allow everything in there to be able to be pressurized or not pressurized at the right time. Okay, so now we're going to start with the brew, and here we have space hopper, and it does actually say carbonation setting 2. I wonder if we have to set that at the point that we start brewing, or we set it once the brew is in. Let's have a look. Set the carbonation dial to the suggested setting. No. So the first thing you do when you start brewing with the V2 is you set the carbonation dial to where you need it. So we're at 5 now, we need to set it to 2. So that's setting 2. I do get the feeling that that's going to really open the options for carbonation for different types of brew. And it's just that and the fresh hops that we're going to be able to start adding to certain presses, I do get the feeling that the brewing geeks are going to love that. By the way, we did say brewing geeks, and it has been addressed. They're the beer nerds now, I think. I'm not too sure. Anyway, so let's get going. And first and foremost, we're going to go in with the yeast. Now, one thing that I have done since pretty much the beginning is I pre-mixed my yeast, just purely to make sure that it works exactly how we want it to and it's activated. So this is how I've been doing my yeast, and I haven't used cold water. I've been using kind of tepid water, and I've dissolved it in water for the best part of about 5 minutes just before it goes in. It is still one of the first, well, it is still the first thing that I put in. I always give it a little bit of a dissolve first, just to make sure that it properly takes and it properly gets going. I might be right, I might be wrong, but that's what I've been doing. So in with the yeast we go. And I always refill here. If you saw my V1 video, you'll have seen me do it then as well. I knew nothing about brewing then. I only know marginally a little bit more now, but that's what we do. And now we're gonna go in with water. But what I do is I put the fresh press in first, purely so I can rinse this out. Now, I should have warmed this up in a bit of water first. Those who know. And the thing is, with Space Hopper, it's gloopy. It's so thick. And a lot of people have been soaking this, the whole bottle, sealed, tight, and in just maybe a bucket or something with warm water up to there for an hour or so, just to make sure that it's malleable. But I'm just gonna go straight in with this. Sorry. And the reason why I go in with the fresh press first rather than the water is because I can make sure that I get everything I need in here, including a few times of rinsing out the bottle. Now, how that works in terms of the capacity that you've put into the pinter, it says to fill it up to the line with the water and then add the fresh press. Now, this is a 1 litre fresh press and it takes 1 litre. So what I do is I will fill up to the line once all this is in, including what I refill, and then I'll just fill this one more time. That gives me the extra litre that I would have got had I done it the other way around. Does that make sense? I think it does. So anyway, Space Hopper needs a little bit of a help here. So you don't want to overfill the fresh press. You don't want it to all kind of, go over the sides, purely because you don't want to lose any of the actual fresh press. So you try and do as much of the freeing up within this itself. Again, this isn't really following the manufacturer's guidelines, but from my experience and a lot of my brothers and sisters in the Pinter groups, we found that this is the best way to go. And is there much left in there? There is, there's quite a lot down this side. Whenever you do brew the Space Hopper, and keep an eye on anything else that's really going to be a gloopy, thick, fresh press. Although they say to keep in the fridge, make sure you get them out way ahead of time and you try and warm up these bottles, whether it be in a bucket with warm water just placed in or wherever. But yeah, just try and get it warm. Now, the reason why I feel Pinter do say to use cold water is because you don't want to kill the yeast either. But we don't have our water set too hot, and I'm not actually at the hottest setting on the tap in the kitchen. A lot of people also use bottled water purely because of where they live and the type of water that they have in the area that they live. Sometimes it can be really hard water or too soft. I live in Liverpool, and the brews that I've made have just been straight from the tap water, and they've been absolutely perfect. I've had absolutely no complaints. So that feels like it's really freed up now in the fresh press. So I'll get the rest of that out. I'm now going to continue to filter the fill line with just normal tepid water. I don't use cold. Sorry Pinter if that's the wrong thing, but I don't use cold water. I'll use the just tepid water from the tap. Right, okay, so I'm dead at the fill line now. And as you can see, that is a definite line now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one more fill of the fresh press itself. I'm going to pour that in to make up the capacity of that had I added that last once I'd taken the water to the fill line. Okay, so we go back on with the cap, making sure that the conical thing is on there. Conical thing, technical term. That does go on much nicer and places down just lovely now. Okay, and then I take the rubber band and over the top there to hold that in place. And then we're going to go for the Pinter shake. Now, in the space hopper, it says, Space hopper requires extended shaking at the mixing stage. If your fresh press has been in the fridge, make sure it's back to room temperature before mixing. So obviously if you've just taken out, you've finished a brew, you've purified it and you've come back, make sure that you've got it to room temperature. So obviously rather than the 10-second shake and putting it onto brew, does this say 10 seconds? Yeah. So remember, the Pinter shake was always 10 seconds, but with the space hopper, because it's so thick, this says here, oh brilliant, shake for 60 seconds, rest and repeat ×3. So 4 times in total. Okay, so I've got to shake this for 60 seconds. Okay, this is going to be fun. Thing is, if you've never had space hopper before, you'd think this was a lot of work, but like me, if you're like me and you've had space hopper before, you'll know it's well worth it. In fact, I'd shake this once every hour for the next 7 days if it meant space hopper brewed properly. He says that. I can honestly say that is the most I've ever shook any Pinter. And the thing is, because there's no plastic here, because it's actual metal and powder coated metal, there's much more weight in it. Bear that in mind as well. Okay, so I'm assuming that we're now going to get it straight onto the dock. I've got to say, I'm most impressed with this. Don't get me wrong, this is just such an advance, such an evolution, but this bad boy is just, I love it. So easy to dock. And there were so many of us at times that really struggled to either get the dock on or get the dock off. And first and foremost, I've got to say that it would seem that Pinter have really paid attention and listened to the problems and listen to the issues, I say problems, listen to the issues that people had had with the V1 and have really just put things in place and really advanced and improved on what they needed to. Okay, here we go, inversion. So we invert to start it brewing into the conditioning dock. And that, as they say, is that. That's now going to be brewing for 7.7, is it? I think those are 5.3. I normally do 7.7. Am I going to wait 2 weeks? Probably not. So this is going to be brewing for 5 days, then conditioning for 3 days. Make sure you're tuned in. I will be doing a video as soon as this is conditioned and tapped. And most importantly, does it fit in that fridge where the V1 didn't? Stay tuned, subscribe to find out. But most importantly, if you've enjoyed this video, if you found it helpful, please consider clicking the like button. It really helps out the channel. And why don't you subscribe so you keep up with every single thing that we do with Pinter. But above all folks, thank you so much for watching. My name's Adam, this is Musing of a Man. I'll see you on the next one.